Hi everyone, welcome to class. We're going to start seated. Find your way to your comfortable seat. Maybe thinking here about maybe drawing away some of the flesh of the kind of buttocks out from underneath you so you can feel the sit bones grounded down into the mat. Your hands can rest wherever you like, maybe in your lap, on your knees, wherever works for you against the body, whatever feels like a comforting or comfortable place to rest the hands. You can have them facing down or facing up, whatever suits you, whatever suits your shoulders, whatever suits your energy level. Find yourself there. Maybe think about taking a couple of steadying breaths, using the inhale particularly to think about drawing a little bit more length up through the back of the spine. So it's not a tuck of the chin to the chest, it's just a slight tilt down of the head, so you're looking at a nice long back of the neck. When you feel ready, you're more than welcome to close the eyes or to bring the gaze down towards the floor, to just start to drop into the body for these first few moments of our practice together. Just spending a little bit of time allowing stillness and noticing how the body responds to that stillness. Noticing if there is instantly resistance to stillness, or if that stillness is welcome, or if you're somewhere in between on that spectrum. And not doing your best not to judge the response that you're observing, just letting it be what it is. Acknowledging and welcoming in the version of yourself that you're meeting on the mat today. Notice, as well as that kind of physical response in the body. Notice your mood, your energy level, things which are less tangible but still have a really massive impact on the way the body feels. And then eventually draw your attention in your own time to your breath. Just watching closely, not trying to intervene or interfere or change the breath at all. Just watch it closely as it naturally makes its way into and out of the body at its own pace. A couple more breaths in quiet and stillness here. Just watching. When you feel ready, when you get the signal that it's the moment to move, we're going to start to just gently roll through the neck, and I'm going to leave this to you to find your own intuitive path into. It might be that you begin by taking one ear to one shoulder, or turning the head to the side, or dropping the chin to the chest, or any variation of movement that feels good in your neck. It might be that you want to roll, or that you simply want to rotate. You can keep the eyes closed here and just sort of follow, almost literally follow your nose into the movement. Identify the bits that feel interesting, sticky, good. Identify the bits that feel more challenging, less pleasant. We're staying away from anything that feels sharp. So no sharp pain, nothing that we want to pull away from. Delicious discomfort that we want to lean into, that's all good. And as you find this sort of intuitive movement through the neck, I'd love for you to begin to start to incorporate the shoulders. Maybe able to roll the shoulders away as you find those stretches in the neck. And when you're ready, we're going to draw the head through to neutral. So take your time in getting there, get there however you need to. And when you are there, we're just going to begin a slightly more formalized roll of the shoulders. And we'll just start with the right, so just one shoulder at a time, allowing it to lift right up to the ear and then track back behind you. You can let the elbow do whatever it needs to do in order to allow this rotation to happen. You can still have your eyes closed if that suits, or maybe you're gently beginning to blink the eyes open. So take the shoulder the other way. So you're rolling right shoulder forwards and then back, the bottom. You can incorporate the arm in any way you like. And then we'll change sides. So when you get to the end of this last roll, allow the shoulder to rest in its neutral position. Maybe you need to give it a wiggle to get it there. And we'll start on the left. So the left shoulder is going to come up towards the ear and go back. It's going to roll down the back body and come forwards. And you're just going to let the hand and the elbow do whatever it needs to do to allow this rotation through the shoulder. Make it as big or as small as you want to. The body doesn't have to be rigid. The body might follow in the movement slightly. So I'm definitely finding a little bit of a turn in my torso. When you're ready, we'll change direction, taking the left shoulder up, forwards and down. Again, doing whatever you need to do in the arm to allow that movement to happen. It's very difficult to make this one-sided. I'm finding my right shoulder is just getting involved. If that's you, don't worry about it. We'll go one more rotation. And then we'll bring the shoulder back to neutral, maybe giving it a wiggle to get it there. And all we're going to do from here is extend out through the legs. So in your own time, taking your time to unfold the knees, just gently extend the legs out in front of you. The legs don't have to go straight. You might, I'm going to do this from the side actually so you can see. You might dig the heels into the ground and keep a soft bend in the knees if that is just a bit easier on the backs of your legs. If of course you can get them flat, that's fine. We're just going to start to roll the ankles, maybe taking both sets of toes one way. In fact, let's incorporate the wrists here as well. So just giving the wrists a bit of a roll. You can let the ankles roll in any direction if taking them one way doesn't keep happening. It's a bit of a coordination challenge. Make sure you're taking them back the other way as well. It's just sort of getting a little bit of movement through the ankles so that dorsiflexion, up, plantar flexion, down, pointing and flexing the toes, getting side to side movement through the ankles and allowing the knees, the hips to move. Even if the legs are flat on the floor, the knees will roll and move. So just sort of allowing that to happen here as well. And then from this position, when you are ready, when you feel like you've got into all the good stuff and there's nothing that is desperately waiting to be tapped into, we're going to fold in the, let me get this right, we're going to fold in the left leg underneath the right ankle. So the left foot is coming right in, up and underneath your bum. Some of you will have done this with me before. The right foot is going to stamp down on the ground just in front of the left foot. So what you end up with is you're probably more seated on your left hip, that's fine. You've got your right knee pointed up into the air, and you've got probably your right bum cheek hovering off the ground. You're going to give that right knee a little bit of a hug, and we're just going to start to lean into it. So it might be, I find that to just get this movement going the first time, it's helpful to put my left hand down and just hitch myself up a little bit onto the front of the left shin. And once you've got the movement going, all you're going to do is start to lean in to that right ankle. You can let the knee track forwards of the ankle. Don't worry about the knee coming forwards of the ankle. I'm just getting my hands out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm just kind of creating this rocking motion, creating a big stretch down the back of the right leg into the Achilles, into the calf. If it's really super intense, if this chain of muscle in the back of the, so what we're doing is we're tapping into the muscle that wraps the heel and goes up into the back of the leg. Getting into all the kind of good Achilles tendon stuff. If that is super, super intense, you're welcome to stay here with the heel on the ground. If you've got a little bit more space, you might come into a last few rocks with the heel lifting. We're just getting a little bit of a warm up through the foot, through the ankle, but also kind of starting to say hello to the hips, I suppose, a little bit here. When you're done with it, we'll bring the bum back down to the ground. You're going to adjust yourself so that your bum can be on the ground, which for me means taking the right foot wider, slightly wider out to the side. So both sit bones are on the ground. You're going to give that right knee a bit of a hug with the right arm. Take an inhale, stretch up on the left side. Exhale, give the right knee a hug with the left arm. Maybe the right arm can come away and reach behind you. So you're just bringing yourself into a really kind of gentle twist that is powered by hugging that knee in. Steady breath here. And then we'll bring ourselves gently back out, no hurry. So if you're really loving it, you can stay a little longer. When you're ready, begin to make your way out. And all we're going to do is switch over. So we'll switch over the feet. You're going to take your right foot in underneath your left. So the right shin is down on the ground. The top of my right foot is down on the ground. I'm going to stamp my left foot down just in front of the kind of my right ankle, my heel. I'm going to give this left knee a bit of a hug, and just to get the movement going, right fingertips can come down and just give you that little kind of hitch up and forwards onto the left foot. And you're just going to start to find that rock, pressing into the sole of the foot, pushing down into the toes. Again, if it's very intense, you can ease your way off. You can have the sit bones more on the floor. If you're quite happy here, maybe you're coming into a few rocks where the heel is allowed to kind of just lift up and away. When you feel ready, you'll gently bring yourself back down to the ground. No hurry to get there, take your time. We'll bring ourselves back. So the right sit bone will definitely find the floor, and we'll just adjust so the left sit bone can find the floor. Maybe that means moving the left foot slightly, moving the right foot slightly. You want to be sitting on your bum, 2 sit bones down. Give the knee a hug with the left arm. Inhale, the right arm coming up. Exhale, give the knee a hug with the right arm. Let the left arm maybe start to track back behind you, finding the floor. So just giving yourself a kind of big squeeze in towards this left knee. And then we'll unwind ourselves. Take your time. If you're really happy, there's no need to rush. Unwinding yourself back to center. We're going to bring both the soles of both feet onto the floor and in front of us. So use your hands to help if you need that. What we're going to do is find ourselves sitting on sit bones. So again, scooch some of the flesh of the bum out from underneath you if you need to. We're going to take the feet wide, and the feet are going to point out in the directions of the corners of the mat. You're going to give both knees a hug with both elbows. Maybe you're interlocking the hands, but you don't have to. If that's available, cool, that's what you can stick with. If it's not available, you're just using the elbows against the knees. And what you're going to do here with the elbows against the knees, this is the Yin Pose called Toad Pose. We're going to think about pressing down through the soles of the feet, using the elbows against the knees to lift and lengthen through the spine. So imagine drawing the crown of the head taller, taller, taller the whole time. We're going for 3 breaths here. Shoulders are soft as you can get them, but the arms are forearms pulling against the knees. Inhale here. Exhale. Last breath here. Long spine. Exhale, let that go. You're going to release any grip that you've got on the knees. You're going to bring the feet side by side. A slightly less elegant transition coming up that I want you to make however you need to make it. With the feet down on the floor, the hands are going to come back behind you. And what we're going to do is start to walk our way forwards, rolling ourselves up onto the toes. Once you've got yourself onto the toes, you're going to lower the knees down. So if you need to skip that roll and just meet us here, that is completely fine. It doesn't have to be beautiful, that one. And we'll meet here with the toes tucked under, the hands resting in the lap. You've got 3 breaths here in toes pose. Slow inhale. Slow exhale, thinking long spine. 2 more breaths. With the exhale, see if you can soften the shoulders. Last breath here. Maybe a little bit of noise coming from the feet. That's okay. Exhale. Nice. From there, fingertips are going to come down to find the floor. I'm just going to check I'm right. Yes, I am. Fingertips are going to come down to find the floor so that you can stabilize yourself as you roll back towards the feet and bring yourself up into a forward fold. And if you need to adjust the feet so they're a little wider here, please do. Take the feet out to hip width distance apart, whatever you need to. And in this forward fold, I'd love for you to think about softening the knees to the point that you can kind of really sandwich the body against the thighs. So bending the knees until the belly can kind of come down against the thighs, let the head hang. The arms can hang here, if that feels good for you. Some steady breaths, feeling the belly move against the thighs. So one more slow breath here. And from this place, you're going to put a bend in the knees if there isn't one already. Plant the feet down into the floor and begin to roll up to stand, starting with the power pressing up through the knees, tucking the tailbone underneath you, scooping the belly in as you unwind the spine. You're taking your time, stacking one vertebrae on top of the next, on top of the next, all the way gently up to standing shoulders slide into place. Head coming up last. Take your time to get there. So move really slowly and we'll meet standing. And we're going to, from here, start to find a little bit of movement through the spine. We'll start just with a nice steady breath all together. When you're ready, inhale the arms up overhead. Massive reach, massive stretch at the top. Exhale, draw the hands down through heart center. Hands coming down through heart center. You're going to interlace the fingers. And as you inhale, you're going to press the palms forwards, up and overhead, lifting the chest and the gaze through. So lift the gaze to follow the fingertips. The arms are coming up as high as makes sense for you. Exhale, you're going to pull the belly in, bend the knees, bring the arms back down out in front of the face as you tuck the chin to the chest. So imagine here the biceps are attached to the ears. Inhale as the arms lift up, you're bringing the head up, you're lifting the gaze, lifting the chest. Exhale, you're pulling the belly in, tucking the chin to the chest, pressing the hands out in front. Maybe softening in the knees allows the back body to round. We'll go one more like this. Lifting up, opening up. Exhale, tucking in, rounding down. And then from this place, release the fingertips. Inhale, rise up, press down through the feet, open the arms up wide maybe as you open through the chest, lift the gaze. So we're going to start to make that movement a little bit more fluid, a little bit less rigid, with the same rounding action in the back body, but less kind of solidity in the arms. So you're coming into what looks from the side, hopefully, like a wave in the spine. The inhale, lifting you up, opening the arms. The exhale, diving the arms in, bending the knees. Maybe come a bit lower as you make your way into this without the rigid structure of the fingertips interlaced. Don't forget you're squeezing the glutes to push the hips forwards as you rise up. You're exhaling, pulling the belly back to the spine as you dive in. We're going to make this the last one like that. We'll inhale our way to the top, open up through the arms. And from here, I'd love you to just move in any way that feels good, thinking about getting some action, some movement into your back body. So whatever you feel like you need, you're welcome to take it here. And it might be that you've got no idea what you need, but that's good because you've got 2 blueprints already. You can interlace your fingers and do standing cat-cow, or you can separate your hands and do a bit of a spinal wave. We'll take a last breath here. And we'll bring ourselves back to neutral with the arms up overhead on an inhale breath. Exhale, hands coming down by the sides. Soften here, allow the shoulders to drop. Maybe you want to roll the shoulders a little bit if they've got a bit sticky by the ears. We'll meet somewhere near the top of the space that we're working in as we start to bring ourselves into more of a flow. Take your time to get there, take what you need, adjust as you go. So find yourself somewhere near the top of the mat. Once you're at the top of the mat, feet are hip width distance apart for us starting off. And we'll take an inhale breath when you are ready, bringing the arms up and overhead. So we're dropping straight in to some familiar movement here, something a bit like our sun salutation, fingertips reaching up. Exhale, we're going to dive the body in over the legs. Remember, bend the knees as much as you need to. Maybe feeling once again the belly make contact with the thighs as the crown of the head drops. Your inhale, halfway lift, draws the belly away from the thighs but does not have to straighten the legs. Exhale, you'll fold your weight in long over the legs, all the way down, all the way down. Fingertips to stabilize you here. You're going to step back your right leg. Your right knee will find the floor, unless you don't like putting that right knee on the floor, in which case it's okay to keep it lifted. And your right hand is going to plant down level with your left foot, as if your right hand were exactly where your right foot just left. From that place, inhale in your own time, sweeping the left arm up and open, bringing yourself into a twist here. And if you find that you're a bit compact in the twist, or it feels a bit compressed, a bit tight, you're welcome to take the left foot slightly further away to the side. Exhaling, your next exhale breath, whenever it happens, you're going to bring the left hand down onto the inside of the left foot. So give yourself a bit more room if you haven't already. Take that left foot out to the side. Use an inhale breath to draw the hips forwards, maybe come onto the fingertips, lift the chest. So a little tiny moment, a bit like lizard there, very nice. From this place, we're going to draw ourselves back. We're going to skip plank completely, plant the hands down on the floor, step the left knee back to match the right knee. And you might need to walk the knees back a touch or the hands forwards a touch to find half plank. Inhale. Exhale, lowers the body gently down to the floor. Take your time in getting there. Just one little back bend here. We're not really sticking with this vinyasa in our practice today. So we're just sort of making our way through familiar motions to get warmed up. Squeeze the glutes. As you inhale, rise to a baby cobra, keeping the neck in line with the spine, the shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, lower that baby cobra all the way down. Tucking the toes underneath you, separating the feet maybe slightly. You're going to press your way back, hips to heels. And this is your moment in downward facing dog. So this is sort of your only moment in downward facing dog. Send the hips high. Take your time in getting there. Walk it out here if you feel like that is a good use of your time, or maybe you want to stay still. It is entirely up to you. Hips are reaching high for the space where the wall meets the ceiling behind you. The legs can be bent, the heels can be high off the ground. And when you feel ready, no hurry, no rush to get there, you're going to lift the left toes away from the floor. And you're lifting them up, not to take them high, but to build some momentum. So stretch the leg back. Exhaling, you're going to step the right leg. We should have the right leg lifted. Stretch the right leg back. And as you exhale, you're going to step the right leg forwards and through as best you can towards the top of the mat. And if it doesn't get there, you're going to grab it with your hand and draw it up. So you're finding your way back to your low lunge. Left knee finds the floor this time. Plant down through the left hand. Take your time. Inhale the right arm high. So closing the body in towards, turning the body closed towards the right knee. And you're welcome here, if it makes it feel a little bit less compact, to take the right foot slightly out to the side, so you can sort of heel toe it out of the way a little bit, so you can get some more space. Take an inhale here. Exhale, right hand coming down onto the inside of the right foot if it's not there already. You're going to use the fingertips, so maybe coming away from the palms of the hands so you've got more space. Inhale, lift and lengthen through the chest. Nice. Exhale, let that go. Draw the right foot back to center. Heel toe it across. Right hand coming to the outside edge of the right foot. Tuck the back toes. And all we're going to do is step our way back to a forward fold. Support with the fingertips. And find yourself hanging out over the legs. The knees can be soft. When you feel ready in your own time, soft bend in the knees. Inhale, sweeps the arms overhead as you push the floor away, rising all the way to the top. Exhale, draw the hands down. Any way you like, maybe coming through heart center, maybe going out wide by your sides. Take a steady breath here. So we're going to switch it up for a slightly different type of movement, still sticking with our sun salutation, still sticking with that kind of vibe, but making our way through a sun B here, which we're going to then turn into that slightly more lunar, goddessy type flow.
So we'll find ourselves near the top of the mat. Bring yourself up to the top of the mat. Steady yourself. Feet are going to be hip width distance apart here. When you feel ready, and there's no rush to get into it, you can always catch yourself, we're not moving quickly. You're going to sweep the fingertips down, forwards, and up overhead, drawing you into your chair pose, sitting the bum low. And I want you to think about lengthening the lower back. So reaching the tailbone out for the back of the mat. Big inhale here. Exhale, dive in over the legs, belly to the thighs. So finding that real kind of soft forward fold. From this place, it's your halfway lift. You can keep a bend in the knees, but you're going to lengthen up through the spine. You can straighten the legs if that works better. Exhale, fold your way in. Fingertips are going to stabilize you here. I'm going to move back a bit so you can see me. Fingertips are going to stabilize you here. As you roll body weight forwards, lift the heels and sink your way down into that little toes pose that we had at the beginning. So you're sitting hips low, heels are away from the floor, you're kind of crouching in on your toes. If you've got it, hands onto your knees for a breath. If you need to keep the fingertips on the floor for stability, that is fine. Fingertips back to the ground. And from this place, we're going to send, when you are ready, the left leg long behind you. And it is going to require you to pop up a little bit, but I want you to see if you can keep quite low as you send that left leg back. Yes, very nice. Very nice. So plant the right heel if it was lifted. So what you should end up with is knee stacked over ankle on the right leg, roughly something a bit like that. You're going to inhale, sweep your way up, fingertips high. Belly pulling away from that front thigh. Keep the back leg soft if that helps. Exhale, hands to heart center as you begin to roll off those back toes and release the back knee to the ground. And I want you to do it as though you are moving in slow motion, as though you were on hydraulics. By the time we get to the bottom, that left quadricep wants to be on fire. Left knee touches down. Nice. Very nice. Once you found your way to the bottom with the left knee touching down, keep these toes tucked underneath the back. Left foot stays tucked. Inhale, sweep fingertips up and overhead. And now I want you to imagine there is a kind of stretchy, glowing ball of energy between the hands. And as you exhale, you're going to press that ball of energy away from you as you pull the belly button back towards the spine, almost as if you're trying to lift the hip points at the front up towards the ribcage. Inhale, stretch that kind of glowing ball of energy into a kind of rainbow shape overhead. Exhale, shoot it out in front. So what we're looking for here is not tons and tons of movement through the hips, but lots of action in the space just above the pelvis. Inhale, fingertips are rising up. You are reaching rib cage away from hip points. Exhale, hands press out in front. You are pulling hip points towards rib cage, squeezing everything in. We'll go one more. Inhale, the arms up overhead. Exhaling, gently in your own time, left hand comes down to the floor as the right arm reaches towards the ceiling, bringing you into that closed twist. And again, as you did before, you've got plenty of choice here to take the right foot a little bit wider. Give yourself some more space. Inhale at the top. Exhale to bring the right hand down to the floor. Walk the right foot back in through center. And with those toes tucked behind you, we're going to step our way to pyramid. And that might mean shortening your step a little bit, shortening up your stance. So what it's going to look like is fingertips to stabilize you, pop the back knee, and then step in until you get the whole of the left foot on the floor. The right leg doesn't have to go perfectly straight. You can see there, my right leg has got a slight bend in the knee. We're going to take an inhale, lift the chest like we did in lizard, maybe coming away from the mat. Exhale, we're going to fold our way in over the front leg. There can be a little micro bend in that front knee, that is fine. Curl your way in. Fingertips to steady you here as you walk super slowly, getting a bend in the right knee towards your left. So fingertips start to walk out towards the left, turning the feet. Turning the feet gently out to the side. And it might be that you need to take the feet a little wider to feel steady. Totally your choice. Once you've got yourself there, we're going to turn the toes slightly out towards the corners of the mat. We're going to inhale and sweep the arms up overhead, pushing the floor away. Just think of that like kind of lovely prima ballerina moment. As you exhale, the hands are going to slide through heart center as you sit yourself down into your goddess pose. Goddess pose, or as some of you know, my least favorite name for one of the kind of loveliest shapes in the practice. Some people call it horse pose. I'm not keen on that. When you're ready, once you've got yourself settled in your goddess pose, again, you're thinking long tailbone dropping down back behind you, not the bum sticking out, but the tailbone dropping long. We're going to bring the left hand onto the left hip, and we'll inhale, sweeping the right arm up and open, bringing ourselves into a big side stretch on the right. So right arm reaching for the ceiling in goddess will probably feel like enough of a side stretch. Exhale, bring the right hand back to the hip, take the left arm high. Exhale, left hand back to the left hip. We're going to do exactly the same. One more time each side, right arm reaching up. If you need to straighten the legs, that is fine. Exhale, right hand to the right hip, inhale, left arm high. So drawing this kind of massive circle around the body. Exhale, left hand to left hip. You're going to press the floor away, rise to stand. Exhale, you're going to turn. So what we're going to do is turn towards the left toes. And it doesn't matter here that you might not be able to see me, because we're only coming into things that we've already done before, and you can have a quick glance back at the screen when you need to. We're going to keep turning all the way around until we find ourselves in our pyramid, our short pyramid stance, facing the short edge of the mat towards our left foot. There can be a little micro bend in the left knee if you want to. Inhale when you're ready, bring the arms up overhead. Exhale to cascade yourself long over the front leg. You can let it be soft, let it roll down to begin with. Don't worry, we've got that extra breath to reset. Inhale, lengthen, pull the belly away from the thigh, stretch out through the chest. Exhale, now you're folding, bringing yourself down over the front leg. You want that right hip point facing forwards as best you can. From this place, when you feel ready, supporting yourself with your hands, you're going to put a deep bend in the left knee, come up on the right toes and allow the right foot to step back exactly the same way as it stepped forward, right knee to the ground, all the way down. Finding yourself in your low lunge here, we're going to inhale, right hand stays on the floor, left arm lifts, bringing you into your twist. So we're reversing exactly the same way we came through on the right, we're reversing out. Left fingertips are reaching up. From this place, on your next inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. I don't really mind how you get there. Take that as you want it to be. Nice. So we're moving through that little cat-cow kind of shape in the back. Imagining you've got this sticky, kind of glowing energy between the hands. You're going to shoot it out in front with your exhale. Pull those hip points up towards the front of the ribcage. Inhale. Stretch it up overhead, almost like it was a rainbow growing a little bit wider over the kind of top of the body. Exhale, stretching it out in front, pulling the belly back, moving hip points towards ribs. Inhale, you'll take it up. Stretch the ribs up away from the hips. We'll go for one more in each direction, stretching forward. Inhale, opening up. Very nice. Fingertips are going to come down to the ground, just to steady you for a moment. So make adjustments if you need to. Most importantly, tuck the right toes underneath at the back there, because we're going to use them here. As we inhale, sweep the arms overhead and press the floor away, moving super slowly back to a high lunge, as if you were on hydraulics, rising to the top. And when you get to the top this time, it's the left thigh that will be shaking. Big inhale here. Exhale, fingertips to the ground as you step forwards and find your way into that little squat. It might be two movements. I sort of did it in one movement there. It might be two movements for you to get there, and that's fine if that's what it takes. Yes, perfect, really nice. Find yourself in this little squat here. And from this place, maybe just checking that the feet are nice and steady. You're going to press the hips high, come back to your forward fold, belly against the thighs. Inhale your halfway lift. Exhale, fold in over the legs. Sweep fingertips along the floor. As the arms rise up, the bum sits low, you're back in your chair. Exhale, push the floor away, hands to heart center, you rise to stand, you steady yourself there. Very nice. Feel solid. Take a steady breath. So we're going to do exactly the same as we reverse our way back on the mat. We'll start with the other leg this time. If you need to come back to the top of your mat so you can see me, you can do that and just go the other way, that's fine. I'll reverse back the way I came, just so you can see what I'm doing. So we'll find ourselves back near the top of the mat. Got the old travelling mat problem again. Find yourself somewhere near the top of your mat. So I wonder I've not ripped this carpet up already, really. Steady yourself, feet hip width distance. And when you feel ready, you know where we're going, so there's no rush. You can catch us if you start slower. Fingertips are going to sweep down, forwards and up. Bum sits low, you're bringing yourself into your chair. Exhale, you'll dive long over the legs, all the way down. All the way down. Keep a bend in the knees maybe as you come into your halfway lift, lengthening out the spine. Exhale, fold in all the way down, fingertips to stabilize you here as you roll the heels away from the floor and sit yourself down into that little toes pose, that little foot stretch. Hands can come onto the knees if you've got it for a breath. And when you're ready, fingertips back to the floor if they're not there already. So this time, we're stepping back on the left leg. Is that right? No. It's not right. We're stepping back on the right leg because we stepped back on the left leg last. So fingertips to steady you. Go gently into it. See if you can keep quite low while it happens. You're going to step the right leg long behind you. From there, you're going to shift body weight back until the left sole of the foot is on the floor. You'll be in something that looks like the right kind of setup for your high lunge. From this position, sweep the fingertips up and overhead. Back heel is high off the ground, and you can soften the back knee if that helps to just keep things softer in the lower back. Take an inhale at the top. Exhale, hands slide through heart center as you begin to roll off those back toes and dip the back knee down to the ground as though you were moving in slow motion, as though we had slowed down the tape right the way down. Take your time, a little shake in the right thigh as the right knee touches down on the ground. That moment of relief should be lovely. Very nice. From here, when you are ready, inhale the arms up overhead, keeping the back toes tucked under me. Exhale, we're into that ball of energy, stretching out in front as you pull the belly back to the spine, rounding in. It's the inhale breath, sweeps the arms up and overhead, stretching that kind of ball of energy into a rainbow just over the crown of the head. Exhale, pulls the belly back, pushes energy out in front. Inhale, the arms are rising up. I don't know if anybody is familiar with the cartoon Dragon Ball Z, but that's what I'm thinking of here. Press the hands out in front. Google it if you're not sure. Last one, inhale, coming up to the top. Exhale, right hand to the floor, left arm opening up into your twist, lifting and lengthening, left fingertips up and away. When you feel ready, the left hand is coming down to the ground. It's going to the outside of the left foot this time, so that from there, you can, with the back toes tucked under, pop the back knee off the floor and step your way in to your pyramid. So it's a shorter stance. Both feet are planted on the ground. The feet are on train tracks, not a tightrope. So they're, if you were to step them side by side, they'd be hip width distance. The back leg wants to be straight. The front leg can have a little micro bend in. Find that lift of your chest on your inhale. Lengthen out. Exhale, fold in over the front leg, bringing yourself down. From pyramid, we're going to soften both knees and walk our way towards our right with the fingertips as we turn on the feet, bringing you to your kind of wide-footed forward fold here. You might need to take the feet a little bit wider, that's fine. You're going to turn the toes out towards the corners of the mat. And from this place, we'll inhale, push the floor away, rise to stand. Big sweeping movement up overhead, straighten out the legs. I love here, a little squeeze of the glutes to push the hips forwards. Exhale, hands come through heart center. You keep that long line in the spine as you sit low into your goddess. Knees are tracking out in the direction of the toes. You want the kind of strong thighs active here, long tailbone. In your own time, left hand to left hip, inhale, right arm opens up and over. Exhale, right hand to right hip, left arm opens up and over. So you know this, you can kind of find it matched with your breath. Find your movement here that is satisfying. We'll go one more time each side. When you come back, left hand to the hip, inhale, both arms up overhead as you press to stand. Exhale, hands are coming down through heart center. We're going to turn towards our right foot. So the right foot is going to begin to point towards the short edge of the mat. The left foot is going to follow and point sort of towards the top left corner of the mat, over on your right. So you're working your way back towards pyramid. From this place, inhale, the arms are going to rise up. Exhale, you're going to fold in. You can bend the front knee a lot if you need to as you come down. So this is pretty soft. We enter into pyramid just gently and then we'll fire it up, thinking about using an inhale breath to lift and lengthen the chest. Like we did in that lizard at the start. Exhale, fold your way in over the front leg, thinking chin to shin as you curl in. Fingertips to steady you here. So you're going to put a bend in the right knee so that you can come up on the back toes and step the left leg back out. Left knee is going to find the floor. You're back in your low lunge with those toes tucked underneath the back. And we go for a few breaths. Sorry, we don't. We plant down the left hand. We inhale the right arm high, coming back through the twist. Stretching the right fingertips up towards the ceiling. Shoulders are away from the ears. In your own time, you're going to inhale. The arms will float up and overhead. And now we're making our way into a few breaths of that kind of cat-cow type shape. So pulling the belly back as you push the hands out in front. Hip points lift towards ribcage. Inhale, the arms rise up. Press down through the front foot especially as you bring yourself into that rounded spine. Inhale, the arms are rising overhead. Exhale, press away. Last one, inhale, rising up. Exhale, draw the hands down through heart center just so you can come to neutral. Set yourself if you need to. Tuck the back toes if they're not tucked already. Plant down through the front foot, stamping down through the front foot. You're going to inhale, the arms will rise up as you draw your way back to a high lunge as though you were powered by hydraulics moving in slow motion. All the way to the top. Big power. Bit of a shake in the right leg, no bad thing. Inhale here. Exhale, fingertips to the ground in front of you, just in front of the right foot, so stretching a bit long with the fingertips. So when you step the left leg in, you can roll up onto the toes and bring yourself back to that little squat that you were in when we transitioned. Yes, lovely, when we transitioned down. From this little squat pose, belly is probably against the thighs here, and that's what we want. We're going to keep that connection as we reach the hips high, let the feet find the floor. Inhale, your halfway lift. Belly separates from the thighs, flat back. Exhale, your fold. Soft in the knees. You're going to sweep fingertips along the floor, rising up as the bum sits low. Exhale, push the floor away, hands to heart center, rise to stand. Take a steady breath here, inhaling. Exhale. Now, find yourself feeling solid. We're going to make our way gently down to the ground, taking our time to get there and making our way through a few little familiar shapes as we come down. So, feet are hip width distance apart. Your very last chair pose here, I promise. Inhale, fingertips are going to sweep down, forwards and up, bringing you into your chair pose, acting like your counterbalance. Inhale here. Exhale, just for good measure, sweep the hands back behind you, rise up onto the tiptoes, heels high. Inhale, lift the fingertips, heels down. Exhale, fold in, long over the legs, let that go. Your halfway lift on your inhale, lengthen. Exhale, you'll fold all the way in and down. If the feet are not hip width distance apart here, maybe just make sure that they're going to be. Separate them a bit if you need to. Fingertips just in front of the toes. As you roll your way off the heels, come up on the toes and sit the hips low. So sitting the hips as low as makes sense for you. If you are somebody who struggles with this shape, we are going to meet seated in toad pose, where we were right at the beginning. So you can go there if that works better for you. Thumb down, feet on the floor. If you're quite happy in this squat, you might choose to walk the fingertips out in front as you feel the hips drawing back, rounding the spine, tucking the chin to the chest, just for a moment of kind of long body stretch. My heels are not touching down here, just so you know. My heels are sort of skimming the floor. From this place, a nice steady breath. We'll walk our way back up and in if you join me in that. And you're just going to keep walking the hands back behind you as you gently bring yourself down to the ground. Let the bum find the floor. And we'll meet up with everybody who has gone straight to toad pose for a couple of breaths there. So separate the feet slightly wider. Toes pointing out towards the edges of the, towards the corners of the mat. You're going to get your elbows to give the knees a hug and lift and lengthen through the chest. I'm actually going to do this from the side. Because I think that might be more useful to see what I'm actually doing. So my feet are not close to my body, they're quite far away. I'm hugging in with my elbows and then I'm lifting through the chest. Shoulders are pretty soft. You can interlace the fingers or you can let the hands hang, whatever works for you. We've got 3 breaths here, same as we had at the beginning. Slow, steady inhale. Easy exhale. Last breath in stillness in your toad. And you're just going to release it slightly, so softening off that grip you've got on the elbows. Bring the hands onto the floor just in front of you. So the shoulders might feel a bit tight. That is okay, they're not going to be squished in this position too long. And the hands don't really have to touch down. I'm just very lightly resting my fingertips on the floor. From here, leaving the left hand where it is, you're going to inhale and open the right arm up and out to the side. You're going to exhale and bring the right hand in and down. Inhale, left arm is going up. Exhale, bring it down. We'll go one more like that on each side. Inhale, right arm opening up behind you. Left elbow can press against the inside of the left thigh a little bit. Exhale, draw it down. Last one, right elbow maybe finding its position against just the inside, soft part of the knee. Exhale, draw the hand down. From here, maybe grabbing a hold of the knees and just encouraging the feet gently a little closer together. Make any adjustments you need to. We're going to bring ourselves down onto our back. We're going to meet there. There is a little bit of movement before we come into our Shavasana, but if you do want to get jumpers and socks, you can do. If you usually cover yourself with a blanket, my suggestion is to keep that nearby, because we're just going to move a little bit before we bring ourselves down into total stillness. There's nothing fancy or technical about getting down. You're just going to lay yourself down on your back, and we'll meet with the feet on the floor, the knees gently pointed up towards the ceiling. We're going to keep things really soft here. So these movements might be familiar and you might know that you want to grab and reach and pull. I'm going to encourage you to stay away from the temptation to grab and reach and pull, and instead just let the body have these kind of last few breaths in real softness, real passive, easy stretching. So when you're ready, draw the right ankle up and across the left knee. Right ankle up and across the left knee. And that is where it's going to stay. You're going to leave the hands. It's so very tempting to come into that familiar figure four stretch, but you're going to leave the hands. Either they rest on the belly or they rest gently by the sides. And if you want more from this stretch, all you're going to think about is sending the right knee away, flexing the right toes. Press the back of both hips down to the mat. Maybe you've got a little bit more room and you can think about bringing the left heel closer towards the body, or maybe even coming up on the left toes, but you're leaving the hands out of it. And you're encouraging this stretch to happen kind of softly, passively, but also with the power of the muscles that we are stretching involved in that. So rather than passive, grab and pull, we're going to engage a little bit to allow that stretch to feel satisfying. You can think about sending the right knee away, direction. You can think about bringing the left knee in a little bit, using the toes as a leverage. Or you leave the foot flat on the floor and you just allow the body to rest in that figure 4 shape. From this figure 4 shape, if you have come up on the left toes, you're going to bring the left sole of the foot back to the floor, make it a bit looser. Let the left knee fall, let the right knee fall over the left knee. So it just tracks across in the direction that it was going in anyway, it just softens. And then with their knees in that soft position, you're going to let both knees fall towards your left as you extend out through the right arm. And if you find the knees don't touch the floor, which chances are they won't, see if you can touch the right toes down on the floor. You can reach the right toes out for the floor will not be that far away. And if the right foot is on the floor, that is fine. You can hang out there, knees lifted. So this kind of twisted root stretch gets really into the outside edge of the thigh, the strong IT band, and into the top of the glute. Might feel lovely for the breath, spiraling up and in, out and around the body. We'll take it in the other direction. So when you are ready, no hurry, you'll bring the right arm back in and roll the right hip back down to the mat. You're going to unwind the legs and plant the right foot down and maybe just adjust yourself in neutral if you need to. So it might be that you need to lift the pelvis, tuck the tailbone, find yourself back in neutral on the mat. When you are ready, the left foot is hooking up and over the right knee. You're going to flex the left toes. So rather than let the foot just hang out, activate the left foot so that it has got a little bit of engagement in the muscles around the kneecap. You could think about sending the left knee away from you. You could think about bringing the right foot in closer, maybe even coming right up onto the right toes, but you're not grabbing and pulling anything here. You're keeping this a fairly passive stretch. Sorry, a fairly active stretch is the opposite. The back of both hips pressing down into the floor. Think about making space at the left hip crease. When you feel ready, we'll turn it into the twist, taking your time, no rush. All you're going to do is relax your left foot and let your left knee fall over your right thigh. From there, maybe moving the right foot away a bit to get you some space. You're going to let both knees fall over towards your right as you extend through the left arm, or cactus the left arm, depending on how much space you've got. It's your left toes, that are going to find the floor here. The floor won't be that far away. And if you need to move the left foot up a bit higher to find it, that is okay. Couple of steady breaths here. Just feeling the inhale and the exhale spiral through the torso. Feeling that kind of long stretch down the outside edge of the left thigh. When you feel ready, no hurry, no rush, you'll take your time, gently rolling the left arm back in as the left hip comes down to the mat, untangling the legs. Maybe taking a moment in neutral to reset, to make any little movements you need to, any final movements that are really calling out to the body. When you feel ready, you can extend yourself out into your Shavasana, releasing the body down into stillness. Maybe you want to extend the legs, or maybe you want to keep the soles of the feet on the floor and the knees pointed towards the ceiling. It's totally up to you. Maybe you want to lie on your side or on your belly, or maybe you want to bring the legs up the wall. That's totally a great option if you're feeling like the legs are pretty tired here. We're just going to take a bit of time to settle ourselves into softness. There is no hurry, there's no rush to be still. So you really can enjoy and take your time in bringing yourself into a position that feels comfortable, a position that feels like somewhere you're able to let the body soften. And as you bring yourself into stillness here, you're taking your time, but allowing that stillness, that softness to seep through the whole body, especially the legs, especially the hips, the strong thighs, the knees, the ankles, and all the small, clever muscles in the feet. Allow the legs to feel heavy, to feel soft, softening, sinking into the mat. Seek out those last little pockets of tension and see if you're able to invite in softness instead. Notice how soft the breath has become, how easy, how natural. And when you feel like it's the right moment, when your body gives you the signal, without feeling like you need to move, maybe just start to deepen that breath, to take more satisfying, steady inhales, drawing in more power, more prana, more life force. Enough maybe to begin to wiggle the fingertips, to point and flex and stretch the toes, to roll the wrists and the ankles. And of course, if you don't want to move at all, you can stay here. There's no obligation to get up. You can stay here and I'll just eventually finish speaking. If you are moving, maybe it's a big stretch, arms up and overhead, reaching fingertips away from the toes. Drawing yourself in, knees to the chest, give yourself a big hug. And then rolling your way over onto one side, you'll pause. Before you press yourself carefully, gently up to find your comfortable seat. And if you've come to find yourself in a comfortable seat, maybe the eyes stay closed or the gaze is cast down towards the floor. However you are here, you are taking these final moments to really soak up every last drop of your practice. Feel the body strong
amazing, really. And if you want to seal your practice, you're welcome to do so. Maybe bringing the hands to heart center, bowing the head to the heart, or anything else that feels right, that feels like a gesture of gratitude that suits this moment in your body. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you all really soon.